Hey everybody, my name's Daryl. Welcome back to Journey to VR. So this week is really kind of cool. We're going to be hanging out and chatting with Abhishek, who just did a really amazing AR experience. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. It kind of went viral. It's basically an AR experience of him walking around Central Park and a Mario world. So really, really cool. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Yeah, of course.
So what's your background? What got you into AR? How did you end up where you are today?
Well, actually, this was my first project in AR, and I did a two-year grad program at NYU ITP, which is like the Interactive Telecommunications program, and it's kind of like it's extremely difficult to explain what it is, but you can kind of think of it as a mix of like a design, art, and tech program. And that's where I kind of got into like these new technologies and these kind of things, and they had a HoloLens because I'm not spending $3,000 on a HoloLens myself, but luckily they had it, and I was like, okay, maybe I should check it out and see if I can build something with it, and that's how I kind of got started. So this was my first project with the HoloLens, and it was, at least I would say, it was a pretty successful project.
I'd say so. So start off with a bang, right?
Yeah, I know.
Now you have to follow it up. That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. I feel like I played my trump card a little too early.
Right. So how did you choose this as your experience? I mean, it's awesome, right? Like it's so fun.
Yeah.
How did you come up with this?
So I mean, when I started off, I didn't start off immediately saying that I'm going to build Super Mario Brothers in AR. Like when I started off, when I had the HoloLens, the only idea I kind of had in my head is that I wanted to be a really large, expansive outdoor experience, because the HoloLens, like they say, is meant to be used only for indoor use, and it's meant to be used in like small quarters and that kind of stuff. So as soon as I got it, I was like, oh my god, like the potential of this to be used outdoors and like maybe for fitness and like some kind of cool experience that you move through would be really fun. And also I wanted to do it outdoors because I also wanted like kind of to see what people's reactions would be to see me in the streets doing that. So that was the initial thought. Somewhere along the line, while I was like learning how to develop for the HoloLens, like as any basic kind of tutorial starts, I was like, okay, let me place a cube in the scene. So I placed the white cube in the scene, and then I moved it around, and for some reason I placed it slightly like above my head, and I stepped under it and I jumped for some reason. And as soon as I did that, like all the memories from my childhood came rushing back, and I was like, oh my god, this is Super Mario. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the outdoor running game, but like it's gonna be Super Mario Brothers because it kind of fit with what I wanted to do, and at the same time, it had all this legacy and it had all this like it's like relatable and it's immediately like relatable to people. So I was like, I'm gonna do Super Mario Brothers.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
almost like with VR, it's just too early to know where there are no rules, right? Like you
exactly.
can't
There are
go
no rules.
outside. No, you can't go outside. You
Yeah,
can't do cuts in VR. Yeah, you can if you do it right. So
exactly.
that's a great takeaway. Is don't
Exactly.
don't be afraid to break the rules
Yeah, and
because there really
exactly,
aren't
and
any
like
rules.
like a lot of people were like, oh, it's a 2D side scroller, and like, why would you take a 2D side scroller and convert it into like a first person life size 3D kind of game? And it did take like some like sort of like reimagining to see how the 2D side scroller would transform into a 3D thing. But I thought the final experience was pretty good.
Awesome. So were you surprised by the amount of press and that it went viral? I mean, did that take you off guard or?
Um, well, I mean, to be honest, like I knew it had viral potential. Um, I didn't expect it to get as popular as it did, but I did expect it to receive like some amount of press. So yeah, it was a pleasant surprise because when I put it up on Wednesday, I got like a few kind of press mentions here and there. And but when I woke up Thursday, it completely like blown out of proportion. So yeah, it's like typical viral story that you hear everywhere. That you wake up to in the morning to an inbox full of emails and wondered what happened overnight.
Yeah, and here I am calling you too. So there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. So what was the biggest challenge when you created this? What was the hardest part for you?
I mean, there were multiple challenges, like apart from obviously first, like just learning how to do it for the HoloLens. In addition to, I think the biggest challenge was getting it to work over such a large expanse because the final level was 110 meters long. So to get that to work in an outdoor expanse where it had to map, not only map the entire place, but keep the level kind of level so that I could complete the entire thing. I think that was the biggest challenge, is just tweaking it to work over that big expanse.
Very cool. So what's the pipeline like? Where does it start and ultimately it ends up on a HoloLens? What are the software and kind of the passes that it kind of goes through to go from your concept to to the reality of a playable level.
Yeah, so it started off obviously once the idea was kind of formulated. Like the first thing I kind of did was I started modeling out all the assets. I mean, I first
Okay.
did, to be honest, I did attempt to find those assets already pre-made online, but I couldn't find them, at least not for free, and I couldn't find them in the aesthetic that I was looking for. So after that, I just basically watched the level multiple times. Even though I've played it several times when I was much younger, I just like watched YouTube videos of it again and again to kind of get all the elements, get all the sounds, collect all the assets, build the assets that I needed to build, which I modeled in Autodesk Fusion 360. And after that, it was just about moving it into Unity. So Unity 3D is the game engine that I used to develop the entire game for the
Okay.
HoloLens. And once moving it into Unity 3D, it was just about lots of programming and lots of coding to get all the game mechanics and all the elements and everything kind of working together. Once I had that to some extent, it was also like interspersed with a lot of testing. So as soon as I would have some sort of playable level out, I would try to test it indoors, at least like one small chunk of it, because I don't have a large enough indoor space to fit the entire level. But
Sure.
then I would go to Central Park where I shot the final level and test it out there. So I think after 4 tests, on the fourth and final test, I was able to get everything kind of working properly.
That's amazing. And how are you getting the data from Fusion over into Unity? What was that? Just through FBX or?
Yeah, it was just FBX. So I mean, Autodesk Fusion 360 is like great. That's the only 3D program I've kind of worked with, and it's the one I started learning with like about less than a year ago or something. So I use it for like most of my stuff. And yeah, it just has this. It kind of does conversions into different file formats on the cloud. So once I kind of save it, I just go to the Fusion 360 website on the cloud and ask it to send me a file in FBX.
Off you go,
Yeah,
right into the game engine, and
exactly.
lots of coding and lots of testing, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, lots of
So
coding,
what
lots of
what was the
testing.
time frame like from when you started this project? How long did it take you to kind of get to where you are today?
I think from start to finish, it probably took me like a month. And it was a month in which I would say half of it was spent on like the testing and the iterating after like the initial kind of coding and all was done, and the other half of it was just getting everything in place, getting the assets together, building the assets, and building the final level.
Okay, so pretty quick turnaround, really, considering you
Yeah,
were,
pretty quick turnaround, but a turnaround with very little sleep.
yeah,
Yeah,
understood. That's often the way these things happen,
yeah.
right? So where did the outfit come from? I have to ask. That was awesome.
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
The outfit. Where did you find the Mario outfit?
Oh, the Mario outfit was kind of like a DIY outfit. I bought the overalls from Amazon. I had one of those red full sleeve workout t-shirts which I kind of wore, and the buttons I actually just made. So I took 2 wooden pieces, I kind of sanded them, made the buttons, spray painted them yellow, and then stuck them on. So it was a completely self-made Mario outfit.
Brilliant. That's probably a big part of why it went viral, right?
Yeah, I
Because
know. I mean, I had to
that
go
was
all out.
so fun,
Yeah, I
so
was like,
cool.
if I do it in shorts or if I do it in like jeans, it's not gonna have the same effect. So I was like, if I'm doing this, I'm gonna do it properly. So being Mario and playing Mario was half of it.
So this is an interesting question because you're obviously just getting through university.
Yeah.
You're doing really great work. Where do you think AR and you are going to be in the future? Where do you think AR is going? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I put personally, I've always had my inclination has been towards AR as against VR, also in terms of like potential and immediate adoptability. Just because I kind of feel like AR demands less from the consumer immediately, it demands less from the user. Like VR requires full immersion. Like you have to put on the headset and you're completely blinded and you're completely occluded from the environment around you. Whereas AR kind of overlays stuff into the environment, so it asks less of the user, which is why I feel it's like a better stepping stone towards VR, and which it'll get adopted much faster by consumers. So I mean, I think AR is going to be great, and especially like with like Apple, Facebook, and all these guys now pumping like a lot of like resources into AR and like pushing it out. Like I see mass adoption maybe like a couple of years away.
Yeah, let's hope so, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
super cool tech, super
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to spend a few minutes with us and chatting about your project. We loved it. It's obviously really, really cool, and other people think the same thing. So
Yeah.
really appreciate your time today, and cheers.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take it easy, everyone.